Welcome back. In this video, we're going to go over a very important and exciting topic, responsive design. So responsive design simply means designing your system or your applications to fit different devices. And by devices, it's usually just the screen sizes. So your application is going to look a certain way with a user using a desktop or a large screen. And you might want it to look a different way if they are on a tablet or a mobile device, and so on and so forth. So responsive design is basically a very crucial concept in UI UX. And on this platform, we make it work like a charm. As you can already see, we have a very easy to use app builder with a very dynamic CSS builder. And if you look at the top center of the page, you can see these different devices or device icons. And by simply clicking on these icons, you basically put the application in a different state. So now, whenever you click on, let's say, the tablet mode, the styling now is basically has switched to the styling for the tablet mode. If I switch it to the mobile view, the styling has switched to the mobile view. So by default, a lot of elements will have the same styling for all views or all viewports or all devices. And it's up to you now to basically create that variation that you require for your applications. All right. So really quickly, responsive design is not only about the user interface, a lot of times it's also about the logic. So we've provided in the live app data in the application settings, so basically app settings, we do have a field here called device mode. And based on the device, this value will change to reflect. So if you had some logic that you wanted to behave a certain way based on the device, you don't have to do any fancy calculations or use any of the HTML internal widths and estimate what the size or what the device is. There are many ways to basically use the system provided data to determine what the device is. One way is basically to just reference the device mode field. As you can see, if I were to change to, let's say, tablet, to go back to it, now it's a tablet. If I were to say switch to mobile, now it's mobile. If I switch to mobile landscape, now it's mobile landscape. If I go back to desktop, it's back to desktop. So, you could basically reference this if you were trying to do dynamic styling, or you could just build this into your logic, right? So some people might just prefer having one piece of logic and that just works for, have dynamic responsive design, or you can just do it the simple, straightforward way. All right. So let's just do a simple responsive design for this, our nice form over here. As you can see, this form has a width of 40%. But if I switch to the mobile view, 40% is no longer working because now the form is too narrow. So I can basically just go into my styler or my CSS builder and change this to, let's say, 90%. Now it looks a lot better. So if I were to go back to my desktop view, it's 40%. If I were to go into the mobile view, it's 90%. And if I were to go into the mobile landscape view, it's also 90%. And this is because the mobile landscape view is going to inherit whatever changes happen in or within the mobile view. Now, if I wanted to break away from this, all I just need to do is say if I wanted a specific styling for the mobile landscape, like let's say 98%. So now the mobile landscape is 98%. The mobile is 90%. Tablet is still 40% because we never changed it. And the desktop is 40%. Let's just go in here and change our width to, let's say, 60% for the tablet view. All right. So that in a nutshell is responsive design using the CSS builder. So you can think of very cool scenarios. Let's say you're using a table to show some data and the user uses their phone, and instead of showing a table, because maybe a table has many columns, you might want to switch to, let's say, a list, right? Or you might want to hide or display elements based on whatever device the user is on. You might want to trigger animations based on the device. Okay, so that's pretty much a straightforward walkthrough of what responsive design is. So I do have an event-driven designed function here that basically converts the background color of my form. When I click on white, the form goes white, and when I click on red, the form goes red. But what if I wanted to, let's say, make the color a different color based on if it's on a mobile device or not? All right, so I can simply go into my function, set state val. I can go into the value, switch to code. You can use no code for this, but I'm just going to use code because it's pretty straightforward. I can type if the parameter app data dot app settings dot device mode is equals to mobile, then I want the background color to be green, else I want it to be red. All right, so now when I click on white, it goes to white. When I click on this button that's configured, it goes to red. But when I switch to the mobile and I click on the button again, it goes to green. If I click on the white, it goes to white. If I click on red, it goes to green. And that's because of that responsive design that we've just implemented in a dynamic workflow. All right, so that is it for this video. I hope you learned a lot. Responsive design goes across the board. You can think of all the different elements, all the different concepts, font sizes, box shadows, colors, heights. You name it, you design it, you make it responsive. See you in the next video.